On September 28th, Jennifer Gledhill called police to report her husband, Matthew Johnson, missing.
The disappearance of Matthew Johnson, a Utah father and husband, and the arrest of his wealthy wife, Jennifer Gledhill, for first-degree murder.
By all appearances, the Johnson family seemed perfect. They lived in a $1 million home, enjoyed a comfortable life, and looked like the picture of success. A beautiful wife, loving children, and everything anyone could dream of. But as we all know, appearances can be deceiving. What investigators uncovered on September 28, 2024, would shatter that perfect image and launch an investigation so disturbing it would leave even seasoned detectives in tears.
In our home before and, breaking bread with them, and then it turned out that she's responsible for his death. It was shocking, frankly.
This video is dedicated to Matthew Johnson, Green Beret, father of 3, and a man still waiting to be brought home. But before we talk about what happened that September night, we need to talk about who Matthew Johnson was, because it matters. It always matters. Matthew was 51 years old and a member of the Utah National Guard's 19th Special Forces Group, a Green Beret. That title is not ceremonial. Special Forces selection is one of the most demanding military assessments in the world, designed to filter out anyone who is not, in the most literal sense, exceptional. The men who earn that designation are trained to operate in hostile environments, think clearly under pressure, and lead when everything around them is falling apart. Matthew had been doing exactly that for over a decade. His fellow soldiers described him the same way again and again after he vanished. Brilliant, reliable, the man you called when you needed a straight answer and needed it to be right. His longtime friend and fellow retired guardsman Kevin Thompson said Matthew had the kind of steady presence that made the people around him feel more certain just by his being in the room. He was also a devoted father to 3 children, ages 5, 7, and 11 at the time of his disappearance. He showed up to school events, he coached, he was present in the way that matters. His friend and fellow Green Beret John Hash, who served alongside Matthew for 12 years and had shared meals with the family in his own home, would later tell reporters that learning what allegedly happened was simply, in his words, shocking, frankly. The family lived in Cottonwood Heights, an affluent suburb tucked into the foothills southeast of Salt Lake City, where the Wasatch Mountains rise behind the rooflines and the streets feel insulated from the wider world. Their home was valued at over $1 million. From every angle, Matthew Johnson had built a life worth being proud of. But inside that house, something had been breaking for a long time. By the summer of 2024, this was not a marriage in trouble. It was a marriage that had already collapsed. The couple had been discussing divorce since at least July of that year, and court documents filed during that period painted a picture of a relationship that had been deteriorating for some time. In August 2024, Jennifer escalated things legally by filing for a temporary protective order against Matthew, claiming she needed protection from her husband. The case went before 3rd District Commissioner Russell Minus, who examined the evidence Jennifer submitted, including videos she had recorded and text messages between the couple. What he found did not support her claims. The videos showed her as unafraid and equally confrontational. The messages she had sent Matthew were, in the commissioner's own written words, repeatedly berating, belittling, and demeaning, if not outright attempting to goad him into a violent response. On September 16, 2024, just 4 days before the murder, Commissioner Minus dismissed the protective order entirely, ruling that no abuse had occurred and noting that a divorce should have been filed long before reaching the current state of affairs. Those words now read like a warning that arrived too late. Matthew, for his part, had already begun removing himself from the situation. His friends told investigators that the conflict at home had become so serious that he had been sleeping at a National Guard facility rather than returning to the house, not because of his duties, but because something in him recognized the danger he was in. He had told Kevin Thompson directly that it was time to move on and that divorce needed to happen. He was ready to leave. What Matthew didn't fully know was that Jennifer had been having an affair, and the man she was seeing would become the single most important witness in this entire case. Not because he was present for what happened, but because Jennifer trusted him with a confession he was not prepared to carry. 2 days before the murder, on September 19th, Jennifer brought her lover to the family home and, during the visit, showed him a firearm, a Glock 19X kept in the house. He thought nothing of it at the time. Jennifer had also made arrangements for all 3 of her children to spend the night of September 20th at her parents' house, ensuring the home would be empty except for her and Matthew. And at that point, the stage had been set deliberately. On the evening of September 20th, Matthew was at home. Witnesses later reported hearing a heated argument between the couple that night. Matthew had apparently discovered the truth about the affair and confronted Jennifer directly. According to her own later confession, the confrontation was intense, years of dysfunction finally breaking open all at once. And then, at some point, the argument ended. In the early hours of September 21st, 2024, as Matthew slept in the master bedroom, completely unaware, completely defenseless, Jennifer took his own 9mm handgun and shot him in the head while he slept. The man who had survived the rigors of Special Forces selection, who had served his country for over a decade, who had been sleeping away from his own home because he was worried about his safety and had come back, never woke up. What followed was not panic. What followed was a plan. According to Jennifer's own detailed confession, she placed Matthew's body into a rooftop storage container, maneuvered it down the staircase, and loaded it into the back of the family minivan. She smashed his personal cell phone. She drove his truck to a nearby neighborhood and abandoned it on a residential street to suggest he had left of his own accord. Then she drove north through the dark with her husband's body in the back of the van, and somewhere in the open land north of Salt Lake City, in Davis County, according to GPS data later recovered from her phone, she dug a shallow grave and buried him. Then she drove home. Once back at the house, she bleached the walls of the master bedroom, applied carpet cleaning products to the floor, and scrubbed every surface she could reach. The house took on the sharp smell of bleach that investigators would later note when they executed their search warrant weeks afterward. And on September 24th, 3 days after killing her husband, Jennifer ordered a brand new mattress online to replace the one in the bedroom. It arrived 2 days later. On the night of September 22nd, less than 48 hours after burying Matthew, Jennifer drove to her lover's home and told him everything: the shooting, the storage container, the drive north, the grave, the cleanup. When he noticed bruises on her arms, she told him without hesitation that she had gotten them while digging and while scrubbing the evidence from the bedroom. He was, by his own later account to investigators, terrified. He said nothing that night that suggested he would act on what he had heard, but he did not forget. He began documenting screenshots of messages, records of conversations, and when Jennifer reached out to him again, he recorded the call. That recording became one of the most critical pieces of evidence in the case. When her lover told Jennifer he was frightened by what she had shared, she responded, "Wow, if you think I could even hurt a fly, like he's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt." She was speaking about the father of her children, a decorated soldier, a man who had been alive less than 2 days before those words left her mouth. She had dehumanized him so completely that his death registered as nothing more than a problem she had solved. When pressed further, Jennifer told her lover, "Not if I deserved it." Responding to the idea that she might have feared being harmed herself, she went on to describe herself as someone who had always thought of herself as the Queen of Hearts, elaborating that she believed people should simply round up the scum of this earth and put them on an island or just kill them all. She then asked her lover, in the same conversation, not to think of her as a monster. The recording happened before Jennifer had even reported Matthew as missing to police. She was already speaking about her husband in the past tense, already explaining, already asking for understanding, while Matthew was in a grave and no one else in the world knew he was dead. 6 days after the murder, Jennifer called police and reported Matthew missing, telling them he had said he needed a week away and asked her not to call. But the Utah National Guard had already raised the alarm. Matthew had failed to report for duty on September 23rd, and his unit knew immediately that something was wrong. Meanwhile, Jennifer's lover had been quietly building his file. On October 2nd, 2024, he contacted the Cottonwood Heights Police Department and handed investigators everything: the screenshots, the timeline, and the recorded call. When detectives executed a search warrant on the home, they found exactly what the confession had described: a large blood-stained section of carpet beneath the bed frame, blood on the bed frame slats, reddish-brown spots on the walls and blinds, and the overwhelming smell of bleach throughout the bedroom. Sitting in the master bedroom was a brand new mattress, confirmed by phone records to have been ordered 3 days after the murder. GPS data from Jennifer's phone plotted her movements north on the morning of September 21st, toward the same area in Davis County she had described to her lover. The physical evidence and the recorded confession pointed in the same direction. On October 2nd, 2024, Jennifer Gledhill was arrested on charges of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. The investigation then widened in a direction no one had anticipated. On October 24th, 2024, Jennifer's parents, Thomas Gledhill, 71, and Rosalie Gledhill, 67, were arrested and charged with 4 counts of obstruction of justice each.
Here we have breaking news coming in for you tonight. Officers have now arrested the parents of the woman accused of killing her husband, a National Guardsman.
Thomas and Rosalie Gledhill have been arrested on 3 counts of obstruction of justice. Police say the Gledhills helped their daughter Jennifer clean up the evidence after she murdered Matthew Johnson. Police say the parents have not cooperated with the investigation and have not helped to find Johnson's body. Police are still searching for that body tonight.
Investigators determined that the couple had visited the home for over 5 hours in the days after the murder, despite telling police they had been there less than an hour to pick up clothing for their grandchildren. It was Rosalie, not Jennifer, who had actually placed the order for the new mattress. Rosalie's phone had also been remotely wiped during the relevant period, erasing location and contact data. And during his police interview, Thomas made a remark that stopped investigators cold. When asked about the master bedroom and the cleanup, he said, "I did not go in where the incident happened." He had not been told by anyone in that interview that an incident had taken place. He volunteered the knowledge himself. That single phrase revealed that Jennifer had told her parents what she had done and that they had made a conscious decision to help her hide it. During a later search of their home, police found the Glock 19X gun box, the box that matched the weapon Jennifer had shown her lover 2 days before the murder, wrapped inside a child's onesie and hidden inside a plastic storage tote. When search warrants were unsealed in April 2025, sealed since October 2024 to protect the investigation, a financial thread emerged that added a new dimension to the timeline. Text messages showed Jennifer had sent her father a message reading, "I need $13,000 by Friday," in the days before the murder. Records confirmed Thomas transferred $1,000 to her 2 days before Matthew was last seen. Investigators obtained search warrants for multiple bank accounts across USAA, Zions Bank, and Chase connected to both Jennifer and her father. What those accounts revealed has not been fully disclosed publicly, but the financial trail was clearly significant enough to pursue formally. Jennifer Gledhill has pleaded not guilty to all charges. She faces 1 count of first-degree murder, 5 counts of obstruction of justice, 1 count of abuse or desecration of a human body, 1 count of tampering with a witness, and 1 count of possession of a controlled substance. At her bail hearing, prosecutors told the court that Jennifer had told her lover she would shoot herself rather than go to jail. The judge denied bail. However, during a pre-trial conference held in January 2026, Judge Adam Moe addressed the court about a letter he had personally received from Jennifer, sent directly from jail, bypassing her attorney entirely. In legal terms, this is called an ex parte communication. It is not permitted. Judges cannot receive private messages from defendants in active cases unless those communications are shared with both the prosecution and the defense. The letter was flagged, disclosed to all parties, and addressed from the bench. What did Jennifer write? The full text, read into the court record, was this. "Hello, this is Jennifer Gledhill. I'm writing to let you know I was able to work a few things out, and I do not require the use of an LDA. I would like to apologize for wasting any of your time. I hope this back and forth does not change your opinion of me. I am trying to figure out how to deal with all of this the best way I can." An LDA is a legal document assistant, someone who helps defendants navigate paperwork without a full attorney. The letter suggests Jennifer had been attempting to manage some aspect of her own legal situation outside of official channels, reached a point where she no longer needed that help, and then, remarkably, wrote to the judge handling her murder case to apologize for any inconvenience and to ask that he not think less of her because of it. As of the time this video was produced, Matthew Johnson has not been found. More than 70 people, law enforcement, volunteers, and Matthew's own fellow soldiers, have participated in the search, which is extended across Davis, Weber, and Box Elder counties in northern Utah. Prosecutors revealed in a court hearing that a vehicle storage container recovered from water in the search area tested positive for Matthew's blood, confirming the physical trail described in Jennifer's confession. But the grave itself has not been located. His family released a statement through their victim representative asking for one thing: "We are hopeful that we will find Matt soon, or that Jennifer or someone will come forward with the location of his body so we can properly lay him to rest." 3 children, ages 5, 7, and 11, are waiting for the same thing. They lost their father on September 21st, 2024. They lost access to their mother when she was arrested. And somewhere north of Salt Lake City, in a grave with no marker, the man who was supposed to walk them through their lives is still waiting to be found. Whatever verdict comes in December 2025, that is the wound at the center of this case that nothing will fully close. We will be following this case closely as the June 2026 trial date approaches. Sadly, this isn't the first time in-laws have been involved in something so tragic. Another shocking example is the Pike County Massacre, a case that will both horrify and anger you.
In 2016,